Surrender the banner, Scar. You have nowhere to run. Wait. I'm just going to do something real quick.
Give banner.
Yes. But let me just... Scar, we have banner at home. Just give up the banner. Yes, I know. But let me do something real quick. Ahem. Hey, though. Are you interested with this lovely horse armor by any chance? I mean, it's only a pre-price of our lovely beautiful friendship. Oh, and also, you get this lovely piece of paper that is totally not a scam. Friends?
Bruh.
So yeah, Third Life. And there's a lot going on. Wars here, battles there, fire there, deaths everywhere. The Third Life members are kinda crazy for the last 2 weeks. I mean, they've been running around, pillaging, burning, threatening, and their Scar. Running around, spreading the goodness of his friendship, with no clothes on.
Scott, I'm gonna say this.
Oh, what happened? Where? I'm really paranoid because of my red
No,
name.
I'm just gonna say.
What happened?
I'm just gonna say.
Oh,
Put
everything
on
fine?
some clothes.
Anyway, the recent events in the server have been very chaotic lately. Like, how do we get from all members just vibing, chilling, and then the random keeper blew up, and now there's a total war going on between the two major factions in the server? Yeah, primarily the Sand and Dog Wars faction. So, to further discuss what's even going on in the server, let's have a quick recap of the events occurred in each faction. Starting with the Kingdom of Dogwarts. So, Dogwarts, before its grand makeover, had been very peaceful, accommodating visitors from nearby factions and lending them their enchanting table for their enchanting services. Things were pretty peaceful. But then, Scar came along and demanded to give up the enchanting table, which caused tensions between the Sand and Dogwarts faction. With the rise of the Red King, Rendog, and with his assistant, Idlittlewood, or Martin, they set out to spread the news of the great event that will be coming in the server. The Red Winter is coming. They reach out far and wide beyond the borders of the Kingdom of Dogwarts, taking tributes and allegiances from nearby factions and independent bases, in exchange for providing them protection from the great threat from the west. These places then become under the protection of the Kingdom of Dogwarts and became part of the greater Dogwarts realm, forming the Red Army. Next up, the Hobbit people is a peaceful faction residing in the Flower Kingdom, pretty much isolated themselves from the rest of the server. But when the Kingdom of Dogwarts knocked on their doors and demanded tributes and their allegiance to the Red King, their isolation and peace were now challenged and was forced to act on the affairs happening around the server. Jimmy and Smager rejected the demands of the Red King and refused to be under the greater Dogwarts realm. This threatened the Hobbit faction about their safety, especially Jimmy, who is now in his third life, and agreed to have a mutual alliance and ally themselves with the rivals of Dogwarts, the Sand faction. The Sand faction in the beginning stages is pretty much the most aggressive, especially with Grian taking 6 lives with him only in his first life, and their Scar with this great thing about friendship. Anyway, with the Red Winter now coming and the Red King now in control of 3 states, this greatly threatened the position of the Sand faction, losing their political leverage and alliances of friendship from other people to Dogwarts. Well, being friends with Dogwarts is a bust now. Oh hey, Cleo, want to be friends? I mean, I told you not to siege the castle the other day and try to scam you with its lovely coffins, but still, we good friends, right? Right? No. Aw. Oh hey, Cleo. Actually, let me see. Oh, you're in the hit list now. That's all. Bye. Friends? Say less. Yay! This forced the Sand faction to ally themselves with the Hobbits and Castle faction, having a mutual alliance to fight back against the great threat of the Red Army Bannermen. Next up, we have the Swamp people. So, the Swamp faction is not really a consolidated faction, unlike the Dogwarts and Sand factions. They are mainly a faction that lives in a swamp, but have their own alliances to other people. Ito devoted his allegiance to the Red King and turned back against Scar's proposal of friendship. Impulse being peaceful with the Crasso people, but at the same time also serving the Red King as the weapon supplier of the Red Army. And there's Tango. I saw someone mention that if Tango was a mob, he would be a wandering traitor. He is basically wandering around, gathering intel from both sides and using them in his advantage. He's basically part of the Pizza Alliance, the Red Army, and the greater Crasso faction. And speaking of the Crasso, our next faction is the Crasso people. So, this faction is constantly being threatened with sieges left and right, mainly by Ito, taunting B-dubs about his tiny Crasso. And then, when the relations with the other factions became sour, especially with the Kingdom of Dogwarts, they are now threatened of an upcoming invasion that might topple the Crasso down into the rubble. With them being completely surrounded by the greater Dogwarts realm, they allied themselves with the western faction of the Sand and Hobbit people. Their relations with the Sand people might be tarnished with the stealing of pizza, which by the way, RIP, and also the siege of the Crasso by Grian and Scar, made them oppose a greater threat, which is the Red King of Dogwarts. Okay, here we go. So, for the previous weeks, there have been a lot of battles, raids, and burning going around the server. And they were mainly coming from the two great armies of the Red Army and the Pizza Alliance. Which by the way, Scar's friends. The Pizza Alliance, or Scar's friends, is composed of the members from the Sand, Hobbit, and Crasso faction. And recently, their new ally, Joel, who accepted Scar's offer of rebuilding his roof. And also, there's Tango, who is playing both sides of the war. The Red Army is composed of the Kingdom of Dogwarts and its core realms, mainly Skizzle Point, Bigby, and the Wolf Fortress. And there's also Tango, who is playing both sides of the war. These two great armies from the previous Third Life weekly sessions have been clashing and battling each other to fight for resources and dominance in the server. With the recruiting of members from both sides, a battle will be inevitable. At the borders of the Red Desert, the Battle of the Banner is one of the first major battles occurred between the two opposing factions. This is what primarily started the Red Winter War, causing a major casualty of Scar losing his dearest llama, Pizza. In retaliation against Ito's loss of his second life from his failed raid, the Red Army marches into the Red Desert to confront the Sand faction. Upon entering the desert lands, Scar and Grian was heavily outnumbered by the Red Army, who brought their entire bannermen in full support for Ito. But then, aid came when Scar's allies from the Flower Kingdom and Crasso arrived in the battlefield. Arrows was sent from both sides, and in an attempt to distract the Red Army, Scar devised a plan to lure the Dogwarts faction into the Sand Fort and ignite a trap that will potentially wipe out the entire Red Army. With Scar's retreat, the Red Army saw an opportunity of an abandoned fortress and retreated on top of the Monopoly Mountain, leaving Scar alone in the Sand Fort. But the trap backfired when the redstone did not activate, and when it was manually ignited, no Red Army bannermen perished in the explosion. Well, our base is screwed. What do we do now? So they're taking the base, right? Yup. And we have no base? Yup. How about we take their base? You know what? You're a genius. While the Red Army were distracted by Scar, the Pizza Alliance marched into Dogwarts to raid and loot the place for resources. But the Red Army was quick into their feet and noticed what was going on, and quickly headed down in the casserole tunnels to save their homeland. When the Red Army emerged from the tunnels, the Pizza Alliance retreated to Skizzle Point, and Dogwarts followed pursuit. The Alliance held their positions, but with the increasing numbers appearing in the battlefield, the Pizza Alliance retreated into the Red Desert to regroup. Before even the week 6 session ended, the two armies once again clashed when they were notified about Joel's betrayal and sided with the Pizza Alliance. And when they marched and headed on Deadbush Hill to confront Joel, they were met with arrows. Both sides exchanged fire with heavy levy of arrows, but with Dogworth's superior harming tip arrows, they were able to deal more damage to the Alliance. The Pizza Alliance decided to retreat and flee to the Sandlands once again. But, in an attempt of an escape, in the little wood shot Cleo from the house, and she fell and lost her first life.